Hi, guys. Welcome to the NA-TALK-ALOT podcast. I'm Natalie Ramirez, your host, and this show is about me and many other things. First and foremost, if it's your first time here, thank you for joining. Secondly, if you are a returning listener, you know I have been gone for several months. I'm talking several. So thank you so much for coming back and joining. And we have so much to catch up on. I have done so much in the past few months that I feel like I really just want to talk about it. All the things that I've learned, things that I want to share with you guys. And I'm excited to start this journey again. I will be doing it in video form this time. Since the last time we spoke, so much has happened, but the biggest thing is I studied abroad in Spain this summer. I spent it in Barcelona. I was studying intercultural communications and just a really fun program. But I do want to go in and talk a little bit more about what that experience was like for me, because I feel like it could be something that you guys identify with, or even if it's just something that you want to try. It doesn't have to be study abroad. It could just be traveling. And it just taps into the subject of being first generation and how that feels when you get to experience certain things that your family hasn't or probably will never get to experience, and the guilt that it feels, or the guilt that you feel almost like undeserving of it. We'll get into that right now. But I want to briefly say that I did study abroad in Barcelona. When I first heard about it through my university, I was like, oh yeah, sure, like I'll try it, maybe, let's see how it goes. And I actually ended up applying. Didn't think I was going to get accepted. I got accepted, and it was kind of one of those things like, oh, okay, getting accepted isn't guaranteeing it yet. And it wasn't like there was reasons that I thought wouldn't happen. It was more so like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to back out. And I had that mentality already without even, anything signing paperwork, looking into anything. Like I was just automatically telling myself, oh, this isn't going to happen because I'm going to back out. And everything went well. Spoke to my parents, figured it out, made it happen. And I went. So I went to Barcelona. I think I'm the type of person that doesn't get nervous until the last minute. I'm talking literally like before I board the plane, or I grew up on stage performing a lot, and a lot of times it wouldn't happen to me until I was the next person up, or I was, right behind the curtain, that the nerves would hit me. It was always last minute. Like my anxiety and my nerves about things would usually just always come to the very end. And that's what happened here. In the months leading up to it, of course, it was something I thought about every day. I almost didn't go. I had already, put in a deposit. I had all this stuff ready, and I was like, I'm not going. Like, I am just going to back out of this because I was scared. I've never traveled alone, or I had never traveled alone. I had never been away from my family for so long. I had never lived on my own. I had never dormed. Like, my world was just so closed that I was like, you're literally crazy. Like, you're insane for wanting to do this. And I just found every excuse to just not do it. But for some reason, something was telling me, like, just go through with it. Just go through with it. Like, I promise you it'll be fine. And I think right before I left, there was a lot of things happening in my life that felt really uncertain, felt very uneasy, unstable, both personally, emotionally, everything, like every aspect of my life that you can think about, I felt was just like, was so fragile. And it all happened just before I left. And it was almost like, it was just so much, so many emotions, so much that I felt that it was like, oh my gosh. And then I'm leaving for a month, like to a whole other continent, like oceans away from all of these things. Like, is this the best timing? But one thing I told myself was, I don't know when I'll ever get this opportunity again. Like, I don't know when I will have this exact amount of freedom, this exact amount of like flexibility and opportunity to do it. And it was one of those things where I was like, I don't want to back out and be like, what would have happened? And honestly, now looking back, I'm like, whoa, like I can't believe I even questioned it. But it's part of it. I had all these roles before I left, and I felt like, being a daughter, a sister, a student, a girlfriend, a friend, like all of these roles that I fed to just out of responsibility and out of like my lifestyle and out of love and just all these roles that you just naturally feed in your day-to-day with your family, with your loved ones, with your job, with your school, whatever, your passions. I had all those roles and I was working on them, and I felt like, I had done my part and I was satisfied with what I provided for those roles, but I felt like I was forgetting mine. And with all of the things cracking and around me before I left, it really showed me like, okay, I need to deal with myself first. Like, it's my turn, like I've just been giving and giving and giving and giving, and it's my turn. And like, I realized, okay, this is the perfect time for me to go and do this. And it was just a really nice way for everything to fall into place. Like I said earlier, I don't get nervous until the last minute. So in the months building up to it, I was just like, but of course, being gone for like 30 something days, I had no idea what to pack. So I packed like for 3 days. And I was like, going through my list, like, okay, do I have this? Do I have that? Do everything, And it wasn't until my parents literally dropped me off at the airport that I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Like, I'm doing this. Oh my, I kid you not, I kind of like started panicking because it was just months and months and months and months of just like, yeah, Barcelona, whatever. That it didn't click in my head. Like, oh my God, I'm really going to be completely away from home for a whole month. All of these things that I'm leaving behind, and all of these things that I'm leaving unsettled or unfinished or whatever. And I'm going to go and do this. And like, I'm going to be away from my mom for this long. I'm going to be from my dogs, my boyfriend, like everything. I was just like, whoa. And I cried, of course. I cried at the airport. It was so funny. I was with my friends, and some of them weren't crying. Some of them were just like, yeah, like I'm so excited. And I was excited, like inside, but I kind of was more like, am I ready for this? Like really questioning myself. And that is the thing. Like, if you're doing something that makes you uncomfortable and that makes you question, maybe it's the right thing, of course, if it's not anything illegal or anything like that, but for me, this was to this day like the most bold and crazy thing and decision I've ever made. But it was literally amazing. I think about it every single day. I had the time of my life over there just because of the relationships and friendships I built, getting to explore, getting to try new food, new culture. I personally didn't really have a hard time adapting in Barcelona. Of course, I grew up with speaking Spanish as my first language, so I adapted very easily, very quickly, and I automatically just loved it. We got to do so many things, got to see a lot of the culture, the history. My favorite part was just being able to go out and try new restaurants. I don't drink, so I really enjoyed the part of just like trying new food, Of course, like the patatas, all that stuff. I wasn't a big fan of croquetas. I don't know. I think I'm just like a texture person. But other than that, like I didn't have a bad meal. I loved the food. I loved the quality of the food too, how much healthier you feel when you eat that versus like another place. Um, it was also great to just, it was like I had my own room, I had my own bathroom, and I've never had that. I've always grown up sharing a room with my sister, and it was like having my own space, and it was just like really refreshing, especially with just being so far away from home and then being like 8 hours apart. Uh, it felt like sometimes I would feel lonely, because I would go back into my room and it would be really late. And then, back at home, everybody else would be waking up and like you just start thinking of like the stuff that you're missing out on. But then I kept telling myself, I'm only here for 30 days. I most likely will never get a chance like this in my life again. So I would wake up every day knowing that I only had a certain amount of days left. So every day that I woke up, I was like, I want this to be a great day because I know it's not going to last. I only have so much time in this point of my life. And I think that was one of the biggest things. That was one of the biggest things that Barcelona taught me, was that I want to wake up and feel that way every day, Barcelona or not. Like, I want to wake up and be like, you know what? I don't have to be on a trip to know I have this amount of time to enjoy and have it kind of be like an incentive or like forcefully enjoy something because I know it's limited. I want to feel that way just in my life in general. Like every day wake up and be like, I don't know how much time I have left, so today is going to be a good day. Like I want to make today a good day. Of course, I don't always wake up like that. But for the most part, it was one of the most valuable lessons that I took from that experience. Also, it was so nice. If you ever get the chance to go, I would totally recommend going to Costa Brava, Tosa de Mar. That's where I went. And there was this part where I was just laying in the sand. I had no service, no Wi-Fi, nothing. I was laying in the sand in the sun with my SPF, of course, and covering my face with a towel. And I had my eyes closed and I heard the sound of the waves. And I don't like the beach, but something about this beach was just, I don't know. I felt like I was completely detached from the world. Like it was just like its own place. And I just remember like that moment brought me so much peace and it brought me so much like warmth. And I felt like I was just sitting with just myself, like if it was just me at that beach. And I remember just thinking like, I want to feel this way again. Like if I don't get this feeling when I'm at home, like I want to be able to prioritize traveling the world and going to all these places that give me that same feeling, like I want to find this feeling everywhere that I go, and in every part of my life. And that was another valuable lesson that I wanted to share with you guys. I can do a whole other episode about Barcelona, about my study abroad and everything, but definitely one thing I spoke about was the imposter syndrome of being first gen. I always talk about that, but it's really true. I feel like the older I get, the more and more I experience it. But it's feeling like you don't belong there, like you don't belong or you don't deserve to travel. You don't deserve all these things that you get to experience and that happen to you because, like, my parents who immigrated here and they've done so much and they've worked so hard and like they deserve this, they deserve to be sitting on a beach in Spain. And like it really does feel like it makes it really difficult to own your experiences because you just feel like something's missing. Like you feel like you feel bad. At least for me, I felt bad. I felt like, oh my gosh, like my mom, she's always wanted to go to Spain. She's always talked about it. And thankfully, she was very supportive of me going because she knew that I would be able to do something that she's always wanted to do, but she can't. And it's just that feeling of like, it makes you appreciate the experience a little more and savor it a little bit more because you know what's behind it and like what it took to get there. That's way beyond me. That, you know, like it just even goes to my parents. And definitely dealing with that imposter syndrome of just feeling like, you know, it's a privilege to be first gen and to have this clean slate and to be able to experience these things first so that you can pass that knowledge on to those after you and to those in your circle and in your family. And as hard as it is sometimes to feel like you're doing something wrong, to feel guilty because you're gone a lot and you're missing out a lot, it's also something to enjoy because there's a line of people behind me who sacrificed so much and did so much so that I could be here and so that I could have this moment. And the same thing moving forward is that I went to New York actually in September, so a little over a month ago. I went for New York Fashion Week with my boss. That was amazing. That was amazing. My boss, she is awesome. Like, she's just so cool. She's like one of the coolest people I know. She does like all this stuff and it's so cool to go and like see her in her element. But of course I went as her assistant and we did content and like, you know, we had a great time. We saw a Broadway show, my first Broadway show that we saw. And we saw, it was the Moulin Rouge. It was so fun. And then we got on those little like bicycle things. And like, it's like a guy on a bike and then you're like in this little bench thing. Don't go on those. Those are, they like, I think they totally scammed us for like, it was probably like 20 something minutes. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, why is this so much? But it was just part of the experience. It was fun. We were like cruising around, playing music. And it was just one of those moments that you just feel like you're just not thinking. You're just like having fun. And I really love New York. I've gone 3 times now. I'm not a big fan of the air because I always like break out when I'm there, but I just love the confidence that I get when I'm there. It's just like, I don't know, it's different. I just feel like I'm a little bit of a different person when I'm over there, and it's not in a bad way. But amazing experience. I got to meet a lot of great people, make a lot of friends, a lot of new friends, a lot of just like connect with a lot of people from different backgrounds and different stories. And it's nice because of course like Fashion Week is such, it's a melting pot for a lot of cultures, a lot of people, you know. It's literally, I literally just imagine like it's a lot of people. And I like to be a little bit of like a people watcher. As social as I am and as like extrovert as I am, I also like to like be on the outside and observe, and it's always interesting to see the different people I encounter every single day when I'm there. But of course, more than anything, like I really got closer to the team there that I work with, and It was a rush. It was a rush. It was like every day sleeping super late, waking up super early. You're doing it for like 7 days straight. But it almost just like doesn't bother you. Like I literally, kid you not, I would go to sleep really late because the shows would end late, and then I would still come back and do homework or do something, and then have to wake up super early again the next day to do it all over again. And it was almost like I got 10 hours of sleep because I would wake up and be like, okay, let's do this again. Like, oh, let's do it again. Let's do it again and again and again. You know, like it's fun. I found something that I enjoy. that I'm passionate about doing. Of course, I focused mainly on making content while I was there for the brands, and that for me is a lot of fun. I feel like I really thrive when I get to put my creativity to use, and as you guys know, I love to make videos and make content and stuff, and the fact that I was able to do that as like a job and like to experience it is just really cool, and I'm excited because I'll be going back again in February. But yeah, New York was awesome. I am now in my 3rd year of college, but it's a little bit different. This year, I have been more involved, more active. I've joined a school organization. Of course, I'm a public relations, PR major, so I've been able to really connect with that. I added another minor. I've been really into nutrition, so I do want to do a video soon about nutrition and all the things that I've learned and kind of how I deal with meal prepping and how I navigate my day with healthy foods and just my week in general, and how I grocery shop, prepare for that, small changes that I've done, just so many things that I'd love to share with you guys about nutrition. But I added it as a second minor because it's something that I want to explore and see if I like to study as well. Anyways, that's been awesome. I just feel like time flies by so much and so quickly. I turned 20 last month. No, wait, are we in November? Yes, I turned 20 last month, so not even a month ago. And when I tell you, some people, they don't feel their age like on their birthday. I think this was the first year that it happened to me where I like instantly felt my age on my birthday. I don't know if it was because I was saying goodbye to the teens and I was entering my 20s. But I don't know, for some reason, I mean, it happens. Sometimes you just feel sad on your birthday. I personally would never really experience that until this year, that I was just like a little weird on my birthday. Like, and usually on my birthday, I'm always like, it's my birthday. And this year I was like, I think it's just entering your 20s. It's like that pressure of like all the things that you either need to do or that, are bound to happen during this age. Like you're expected to graduate, have a job, get married, have kids, like have all these things lined up. And of course, like those are things that I look forward to and that I'm excited about. And it's like not like you have to do those in your 20s. Me personally, that is in my cards, that like something that I would want early on. Not early on, but like before I turn 30. So it's just that thought of like, whoa, what is this next decade gonna look like? And it's almost that I always feel that pressure that I give myself of like, every year you should get better. Every year you should be more wiser. You should be more of this, you should be more of that. And like, you want to do this differently. You always, or at least me personally, I always take my birthday as like another clean slate. So I've only been 20 for like not even a month, guys. So I can't really report it to you yet, how that's been. But I'm a part of you now. Anybody in their 20-somethings, I'm with you. I threw a Halloween rager. It was not a rager. I threw a Halloween party, and it was so much fun. I was supposed to be a vampire, but I got these like $4 fangs from Amazon, and they totally failed. I put them on, and I was like, oh my God, it worked. And then they just fell off. So I didn't even look like a vampire. I just looked like some gothic girl. I was like, whatever. It's still a costume. Like, I never look gothic. But hey, I just love fall right now. So as you could tell, I'm a little bit in the darker side of things. But I can't believe I totally forgot to mention this to you guys. While I was in Spain, I went to Portugal for 3 days, like over the weekend. I can't believe I forgot this part. This always happens. I went to Portugal for 3 days. I went to Lisbon. It was one of those spontaneous last minute things. We literally planned it the night before. I slept like 2-3 hours because I had no idea what I was supposed to pack. Remember how I mentioned I was so comfortable in Barcelona that I was just like, I fit in. I love it. Like, I had no cultural shocks other than, I don't know. I was very comfortable in Barcelona and I had no problem adapting. All of that disappeared as soon as I got to Portugal. And I feel like that's fair because the whole purpose of studying abroad is trying to not become a part of a culture, but integrate yourself into it a little bit more than you would if you were just a tourist, because you're in this community for a certain amount of times, and naturally the whole purpose and point is for you to kind of like immerse yourself in it a little bit deeper. So it was like the third week that I was there. We decided to take this trip, my friends and I. It was like 5 of us. And so we booked a trip to Lisbon, got there. We planned it last minute. So the place that we were at was not like the best area of Lisbon. I think I like blindsidedly went. Like, I didn't really look into what Lisbon looked like. I had never even heard of Lisbon until that week. I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking with you guys. I had no idea what Lisbon was. But I was like, sure, I'll go. And it is literally one of those things in life where it's just like, if you don't, I don't know, I didn't have the details. I'm usually a very calculated and like to the point scheduled person. And when I was over there, I wasn't. It was just like go with the flow, free. I got there. I was immediately, I think, shocked by the environment. Surprisingly, most people didn't speak Spanish there, even though Portuguese a lot of times sounds very similar to Spanish. I would talk to somebody in Spanish and they'd be like, they wouldn't understand me. They understood English a little more. And so what I didn't experience in Spain, I experienced in Portugal with like a language barrier and really putting myself out of this comfort zone. The food was amazing in Portugal. It just had more flavor than it did in Spain. I don't know. I really liked it there. But I kid you not, the first few hours of being there, we went to go to breakfast. And I had like a full-blown... I don't ever really struggle with anxiety or panic attacks or anything like that, but I literally had one at breakfast because it was just like so much. I think I was on cloud 9 for like the first 2 weeks because I was just enjoying Spain and it almost hadn't hit me that I was not home for such a long time. So when I was there, it was almost like the glasses came off and I was kind of put in like in an uncomfortable bubble. And I like broke down because I was like, oh my gosh, like I was like tired. I got sick the first day I got there. Just so many things that it was almost like my body had like a delayed reaction to what it should have reacted when I first started my experience. And I swear to you, you're going to notice in this episode, I have this pattern of like, oh, I'll just leave early. Like, I'll just leave tomorrow or I'll just leave the day after. It doesn't matter if I paid for like the 3-4 days. I'll leave halfway through. Like, I'm not going to make it all the way. It's just always me like questioning myself. And I was almost about to do that. And thankfully my friend Nayeli was like, no, like you're staying, like it'll be fun. Like, just trust me. So, we weren't sure what we were going to do. We had no plan. Like, it was so spontaneous, but literally it was one of the best trips. We walked around, even just like to see like the local community. They had this like cute little fair happening. We had this beautiful dinner downtown. We went to the beach, one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen. It was such a cute little beach town. We had amazing food and drinks. We had such funny Uber driver experiences. Like, it was it was amazing. And I can't believe I forgot to tell you guys about that. But the whole moral of the story, I guess, is if there's something that you feel like it's too big for you, that it almost intimidates you, it almost scares you, it almost forces you to want to quit or to not do it, do it. Because I was in that position where it was such a uncomfortable, new, and challenging experience that I was so sure I wasn't going to be able to handle it. And I ended up handling it very well. And for being somebody who had little to no travel experience, have never been away from my family for as long as I had been, super, like, such an attached person, such an affectionate person to, like, my life here at home, I handled it so well, and I handled that role with myself that I mentioned. I handled that role with myself that I mentioned to you guys before, and I think that's just sometimes something that we need. We need to, it doesn't mean like drop everything and leave to Europe for a month. It just means like listen to yourself when you feel like your soul, your body's telling you like, hey, I need you. Like, look over here. Green arrows this way. And listen to what it needs. Anyways, there's so much I want to talk to you guys about, so many subjects that I'm excited to get into with you guys. But that's all for today. I thought we'd just keep it a nice little catch-up session. Make sure you're following me at Natalia Media and NA-TALK-ALOT Pod on social media. But thank you guys so much for tuning in on today's episode. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm so happy for this small little community that I have, and that's just going to be growing. And I hope you're all doing great. I hope that you are all able to gain at least a little bit of something from this episode. At the end of the day, that's all that I hope for. I hope by sharing these experiences and these opinions and this knowledge and just me talking to myself to a camera brings you, even if it's just a little something. So thank you guys. See you at the next one.